Picture this: you have worked insanely hard for years, sleepless nights, endless practice sessions, and a single minded focus, all to get to that finish line in time. And then, when you're finally there, you think, I've made it. The hard part is now over. But within weeks, reality hits. You hit a roadblock. The confidence you had starts to wobble, and you're left wondering, what is next from here? Where do I go from here? And trust me, if you don't choose what you want, someone or something will choose it for you. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am Renal. I graduated from ISB and BITS Pilani, which are two top tier institutes in India. And on this channel, I share learnings, strategies, and hacks that helped me ace some of the toughest competitive exams around the globe, like IIT JEE, BITSAT, GMAT, and CFA Level 2, as well as navigate my corporate career. My goal here is very simple: to help you make your own journey easy and fun. So in today's video, I'm going to take you on a journey through my own engineering experience, the struggles I faced trying to find the path, and how I finally chose what I wanted, which was at that time finance. Along the way, we'll explore how you can find your own path too, no matter where you are in your life, because there is no perfect timeline for this. The process keeps iterating itself, you keep finding new paths, but the sooner you take charge, the better for you. So let's dive in. So it all started with a dream, the classic Indian middle class dream of becoming an engineer. I spent my teenage years immersed in physics, chemistry, and maths, working tirelessly to crack the IIT JEE and BITSAT exams. When I finally got into BITS Pilani, I thought that I had made it. I have made it to one of the highest ranked institutes for science in the country. It felt like I was standing at the gates of endless opportunities. But here is the thing about top tier institutes: they are filled with insanely smart people. Suddenly, you're not the topper anymore. Everyone around you is brilliant, and while that's exciting, it can also be terrifying. So when I first stepped into a lecture hall at BITS Pilani, I realized how drastically different the teaching style was from my own engineering entrance prep days. Back then, everything was spoon-fed. Ready-made notes, step-by-step solutions, and a tightly structured curriculum by the coaching center. At BITS though, professors expected you to take charge of your own learning, diving into material independently and coming prepared to class beforehand. Initially, I really struggled, trying to keep up with endless slides, textbooks, and notes, using the same rereading and highlighting methods that I relied on before and somehow got by. It just didn't work here. As I adapted to this new reality, balancing academics with the vibrant campus culture, I started exploring things beyond the classroom. Joining clubs which are focused on finance, consulting, entrepreneurship, and business in general opened my eyes to new opportunities and gave me a glimpse of career paths that I had never considered before. This is a phase many of us don't ever talk about. You step into a prestigious institution with big dreams, but soon the pressure and the overwhelming options make you question your choices. Should I even join this club? Should I focus on my GPA instead? Should I just go with the flow and see what happens? I saw this happen to so many of my peers. Some of the smartest people I knew had no idea what they wanted to do with their lives. And why would they? We spend so much time chasing a goal, getting into a top college, but no one tells us what to do once you get there. So for a while, I went with the flow. I joined a few clubs, attended events, and even dabbled in coding because, well, that's what everyone seemed to be doing. But deep down, none of it was feeling right. So the turning point came in my third year when we had to choose our electives. Until then, I had mostly gone with the flow, focusing on core engineering subjects and dabbling in coding because everyone else was doing that, and exploring campus life through various clubs. But when it came to selecting electives, I saw an opportunity to explore something very different. By this time, I had been exposed to finance through some of the clubs that I had joined and by taking electives. There was something about the world of numbers, markets, and decision making that was all very new novel, and fascinating, and that really intrigued me. While my peers leaned towards more technical electives like data structures or advanced circuit design, which were more core engineering courses, I decided to take a leap of faith and chose finance. It felt like a bold move, especially since I didn't have a formal background in the subject before. I still remember one of the first electives that I took was called financial management. The subject really fascinated me. Understanding how businesses make decisions about capital, investments, and how they manage their own risks that are part of their day to day felt so dynamic compared to the rigid economics of engineering. I started devouring books like The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, learning about markets, valuation, and strategy. That decision to step off the conventional path that I had followed till that point in my life, which was around 20 years of my life, wasn't easy. But as the saying goes, you don't have to have it all figured out to move forward. And that's exactly what I did. I took a step toward what felt right, even if I didn't have all the answers at that point in time. So now, if you are in the same boat, feeling kind of lost, you need to understand that finding your path isn't always about having a moment of sudden clarity. Sometimes it is about trying things, learning from them, and iterating as you go. Here are some practical strategies that I use for my own journey and still do to figure out my path ahead that can help you navigate the process of discovering your own path. So there is this framework that I use, which I call the Explore framework. Explore stands for expose, participate, learn, observe, reflect, and evaluate. So the first key strategy is exposure. You need to try new things, whether it is a new club, course, or any other activity, and see how it feels to you. But instead of diving in blindly, use this simple explore framework to help guide your exploration. So to expose yourself, you need to put yourself in environments or situations outside your comfort zone. This could be attending guest lectures or signing up for a course that interests you. Now, participation. So get involved actively in clubs, projects, and internships that you initially dabbled with, but that really resonated with your own personality and your gut. Learn. Focus on gaining hands-on experience and knowledge in those areas that you have dipped your foot in. Try to dive deeper into those topics and really immerse yourself in that. Next is observe. Take note of how different experiences make you feel. What excites you? What drains you? What gives you the energy where you don't feel like you have to let go of that ever, and doing that particular thing never really gets you out of that energy. That is something that you can do for the next 10 to 15 to 20 years, or maybe even the rest of your life. And that can be different for everyone. So you really have to introspect here and see what is really working for you. Next is reflect. Take time to think about your experiences and what aspects that sparked your interest. So after you have done all these things, you have really immersed yourself, you have evaluated different experiences. Now you have to take a decision whether you want to really commit to this or try something new, and maybe this isn't working for you. Now the key here is optimizing so that you don't lose too much of time or energy on a specific thing which didn't really resonate with you and which you can't do for a long time. So this framework really helps break down the overwhelming task of exploration of different activities and things into manageable steps. The second tool that you can use to find your own path is called the 3P rule. So 3P stand for passion, purpose, and practicality. So when you feel unsure, ask yourself these three questions using the 3P rule. This will help you refine whether a potential path is worth pursuing. Number one is passion. So does this align with something that excites you? Passion is often the fuel that keeps you going, especially during tough times. Purpose. Does this align with your long-term goals or values? Purpose can bring clarity and direction in whatever path you're trying to take. And the last, but definitely not the least, is practicality. So depending on where you are in your life or what sort of background you come from or what your experiences have been till now, can this be realistically achieved with your current resources? For example, making an AI agent during Newton's or Leonardo da Vinci's time wasn't practical because the underlying technology didn't exist at that time, so it would have been very far-fetched. So you really need to evaluate this part for yourself. Do you have the time, the skills, and the network that would be required to pursue this path? Practicality ensures you don't get carried away by excitement without considering logistics. So by balancing these three P's, you'll have a clearer sense of whether a path is worth pursuing. The third framework that you can use is something known as the S curve. Finding your path doesn't mean getting everything right the first time. So for example, take the S curve of learning, which is a framework for understanding how to navigate trial and error. Here is how it works. Start slow. Initially, any new skill or interest will feel awkward and slow. The key is really to be patient and keep at it for some amount of time. Once you have really committed to it, climb rapidly. So after a period of struggle, things will automatically start clicking. This is the phase where you gain momentum and improvement happens really fast. Then things are bound to slow down as you reach a certain level of competency. This is when you evaluate again if you want to go further, deeper, or try something new. So understanding the S-curve helps you see the learning process as a very natural flow. And the most important bit is to not feel discouraged when things feel tough in the beginning, because that's how learning in any field really happens. Now let's talk about another tool which might be helpful for you. It's called the ABCD approach. Once you have tried something new, but you are still not sure and are still evaluating whether to go ahead with it or not, use the ABCD approach. So this method makes it easy to objectively evaluate any experience. A here stands for what did I do? So write down the specific steps that you took in your activity or that project. B is for behavior. Ask yourself this: how did I behave during this process? Were you engaged, stressed, motivated, or bored? C stands for consequence. So what was the result of those actions? Did you actually achieve those goals, or did you face significant challenges? This again ties into our previous framework 3P, where we talked about practicality. So if you face significant challenges that you feel might not be worth the effort and the ROI on those actions is not really high, you might have to really take a call at that time. Now D stands for direction. So based on the action, behavior, and consequences that happened from your actions, what direction do you want to take next? Do you want to dive deeper, explore something else, or refine the approach and keep going ahead? So the ABCD approach forces you to break down experiences systematically, and so that you're not really making emotional decisions while going down a specific path, and allows you to extract meaningful insights from all your actions. But again, I realize that finding your own path can be really overwhelming, especially if you're starting from scratch in a new field. To break through that mental barrier, you can use something known as the 5-minute rule. Instead of committing hours to something at first, start by dedicating just 5 minutes. This could be reading an article, brainstorming ideas, or learning a new concept in that field. But once you start, you'll often find yourself naturally diving deeper and getting a pull. The small win of taking action, no matter how tiny, creates momentum that leads to bigger wins over time. And if that keeps happening naturally to you, you know that this is the right path for you. This rule is a simple but powerful way to overcome procrastination and build consistency to get you going in the first place. And then you can refine your approach as you go from there. And finally, the cherry on the cake is always to have a growth mindset, which is a concept which was popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck. This is all about believing that abilities and intelligence can be developed over time with effort. A lot of folks that I talked to dropped some of the paths that they could have really delivered in just because they thought that they didn't have the abilities or the intelligence to go at it. The key here is to realize that if something really energizes you and you can do it over the longer term, you should really get into it, and the abilities and intelligence will come over time. There are 3 key pillars to this. Number 1 is to focus on effort, not just results. This is something called as focusing on the input-based goals and not output-based goals. So you just focus on what you have to do and not what you're getting out of it. Initially, to build that momentum and get you going and build that consistency, understand that mastery takes time and doesn't happen overnight. The second thing that you need to do to have a growth mindset is to embrace challenges. So don't shy away from difficult situations. We talked about practicality in the previous frameworks, but You really have to be the judge here. It doesn't mean that you run away from a problem as soon as a small difficulty shows up. Don't shy away from difficult situations, embrace them as opportunities to learn. But you yourself will have to be the judge here. If a certain thing is really starting to drain you, then it's not worth pursuing. Number 3 is learning from feedback. View feedback as a tool for improvement, not as criticism. A growth mindset helps you stay resilient when things don't go as planned, and which is bound to happen in any path that you take. Having a growth mindset reinforces the idea that you can always improve and evolve. And the last thing to realize here is that it's a lifelong process. One of the biggest myths that people have is that you need to have everything figured out by your early 20s. Let me tell you, that's not true at all. I didn't figure out my path all at once, and I still don't have it all figured out. And neither do all of my peers that I have met at these top institutions. So even after choosing finance, I explored different roles. Each step taught me something new and helped me refine my direction. And here is the thing. Your path might change over time. What you love at 22 might not be what you love at 32. And that's totally okay. Remember, life is a journey, not a race. So if you take away one thing from this video, let it be this. If you don't choose what you want, someone else will. But the good news is, it's never too late to take charge. Start exploring, stay curious, and trust the process. If you like this video, don't forget to check out this other video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.